Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
Here are the top stories of the news. Power outage disrupts the All Progressive Congress presidential campaign in Bauchi State. In Osun State, the state government says teachers affected by the governor's executive order are not employees of a state. On the foreign scene, man kills 7 former co-workers in U.S. state of California, the second mass shooting in less than a week in the state. Good afternoon and welcome to Spring News at 12 on Western Spring Television. My name is Okpeyemuni. The presidential campaign rally of the All Progressives Congress in Bauchi State was brought to an abrupt end by power outage yesterday. The rally commenced at about 11:50 a.m. at the Abubakar Tafawa Balewa Stadium, Bauchi, when the power supply ceased and the sound system went off and could not be restored. There was an outage when the chairman of the Progressives Governors Forum, Atiku Bagudu, was making a speech, but shortly after the electricity supply was restored, the governor concluded his remarks. But at about 1:10 p.m., the power supply again went off shortly after the APC National Chairman, Abdullahi Adamu, mounted the podium and began addressing the party supporters. While Adamu, Tinubu, Shatima, and others were on the podium, the power was restored again before it went off for the third time, and all efforts to resolve it failed. The party's standard bearer, Bola Tinubu, could not address the mammoth crowd at the rally following the departure of President Muhammadu Buhari. With less than 6 months to the end of his tenure, President Muhammadu Buhari has promised to serve Nigerians to the best of his ability. Buhari made the promise yesterday while paying homage to the Emir of Bauchi, Rilwan Adamu. The president was in Bauchi State for the APC presidential campaign rally. Buhari recalled visiting all the local governments of Nigeria, where he promised to serve the country. Speaking, Emir of Bauchi Adamu commended Buhari for his visit while appealing to politicians to eschew bitterness in politics. Buhari was accompanied by the APC National Chairman Abdullahi Adamu, the Senate President Ahmed Lawan, and the Speaker of the House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila. The presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, has promised the Niger Delta people that his administration will devolve powers from the center and restructure Nigeria if elected. Mr. Atiku spoke at the campaign rally of the PDP in Yenagoa, Bayelsa State. Yesterday, he noted that the people of the region had been clamoring for resource control and a restructuring of the country, and that his government, when elected, would accede to their demands. He reiterated the implementation of his 5-point developmental agenda for the nation, which he listed as the unification of the country, tackling insecurity, the economy, ending the strike in universities, and restructuring. Meanwhile, the Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi has promised to build a new Nigeria as he took his campaign to Katsina, the home state of President Muhammadu Buhari. He made a promise at the Mohammed Diko Stadium yesterday, restating his commitment to restoring peace, fighting poverty, and opening all land borders in the country for the economic well-being of the citizens. Mr. Obi urged women and youths in the country to ensure that they vote for Labour Party flag bearers in the forthcoming general elections. He stated that Nigerians have been deceived for the past 24 years, adding that his party has come with the promise of ending the bloodshed and poverty, restoring peace, in all parts of the country.
Your children, yourself, will be happy to say we live in our country. Katsina used to be a peaceful town. Today it is not. Katsina used to be a peaceful state. Today it is not. We're begging you, vote for Labour Party. Daddy and I are committed to a new Nigeria, a Nigeria where there will be security of life and property. A Nigeria where we will work out to unite Nigerians. We don't want a Nigeria where people are chased out of their house, where they're insecure, where their children cannot go to school, where they live in IDP camp.
The presidential candidate of the New Nigeria People's Party, NNPP, Rabiu Kwankwaso, says it will accept the outcome of the 2023 presidential election if it does not turn out to be in his favor. Mr. Kwankwaso stated this yesterday at a town hall meeting with staff and students of the University of Abuja, adding that the polls must be free and fair. The former defense minister also promised to increase the numerical strength of the country's armed forces as part of a security strategy. He further engaged with students and management staff of the university on his manifesto, including security, education, youth inclusivity, unemployment, and the economy. Still in politics, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has vowed to tackle vote buying in the forthcoming elections. The commission described the vote in exchange for money as a cankerworm that had eaten deep into the country's political system. The INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner in Rivers State, Johnson Alalibo Sinikiem, stated this in Port Harcourt at the opening ceremony of the 2023 Week of the Correspondence Chapel of the Nigerian Union of Journalists. Speaking at the event, Mr. Sinikem said the electoral body had sensitized the youths in various villages in the country to monitor and report anyone involved in vote buying. It disclosed that security agencies, especially the Nigerian Police and the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, had been briefed to watch out for people in possession of other PVCs. Here in Osun State, the Osun State government insists it did not sack any of the 1,500 newly recruited teachers who were recently displaced by the executive order enacted by Governor Ademola Adeleke, but says the teachers are not employees of the government. Chairman State Staff Audit, Appointment and Promotion Review Committee, Dr. Muiwa Oladimeji, made this known while appearing on Morning Spring, a Western Spring television current affairs program. Dr. Oladimeji argued that even though the committee was yet to submit its report, it stands to reason that in line with Governor Ademola Adeleke's executive order, all appointments after July 16th returned to their initial positions. But one of the teachers, Olalekan Adewale, who spoke on behalf of his colleagues, asked the state government to not politicize the situation and ensure that those whose appointments follow due process are retained. Yesterday, the newly recruited teachers in Osun State appealed to the governor to allow them to continue to work in their various places of assignment.
It's not a question one will answer yes or no, because you have to look at it in its multifactorial sense. The teachers, just like many other new appointments, you will remember that when the governor took over during his inaugural speech, he said status every appointment after the election, status quo ante, that they should go to the previous appointment. So that interpreter, that means if you were just promoted a principal and you were a vice principal before, then go back to vice principal. And if you are a chief executive suddenly after that announcement, and before that you are not chief executive, then you go back to not being chief executive, status quo ante. So you can interpret, if you were not in the service of government as of the time the announcement was made, then of course it puts you in a very dicey situation. But notwithstanding that, when the teachers, when we came over, we're not in the business of wanting to sack anybody, because we understand, one, everybody needs a livelihood. Two, the functions that they're supposed to give are very useful and germane to society. But after that, there are also very serious implications.
That is untrue. We are neither belong to any political party, and the recruitment was done without any political coloration, affiliation. We don't know anybody. All we know that we are professional teachers. They should count us out from any political gimmicks. We are professional teachers, and we are already fully captured. All the documentation has been done, including the capturing. You have state code. State code has been issued to us. So we were even expecting salary before the expiration of Governor Gboyega Oyetola.
And now to security matters, no fewer than 3 persons have been kidnapped by yet to be identified gunmen in Iwo area of the state. The kidnappers were said to have demanded 5 million naira for their release. The gunmen, who were said to have struck last Friday, ambushed the abductees, whose names were given by the State Police Command as Amzat Ibrahim, Dere Ibrahim, and a 38-year-old man whose name was yet to be identified. It was gathered that they were kidnapped in their farmland located in Ologun area of the Iwo local government area of Osun State. The State Police spokesperson, SP Yemisi Opalola, said the incident was reported by one Amidat Ibrahim to the police in the state. In Imo State, the State Police Command has confirmed that a technical investigation has commenced into the abduction and killing of a sole administrator of the Delta North local government area, shared widely online. In a statement, the police public relations officer, ASP Henry Okoye, made this known, stating that the command is aware of the iniquitous and obscene video that has gone viral on social media. Mr. Okoye revealed that in the video, a man suspected to be the abducted Delta North so administrator is seen kneeling down, his hands tied and made to undergo an inhuman act. This, it said, was followed up with his killing by suspected members of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra and its armed affiliate, Eastern Security Network. Elsewhere, the Ogun State Police Commander slammed the alleged action of policemen from the Isheri Police Division, Lagos State, who were accused of enforcing the Okada ban of Lagos in Ogun Territory. The Ogun State Police Command Public Relations Officer Abimbola Oyemi described the action as illegal, warning that officers caught would face the law. He stated that officers cannot come from a different state to come and arrest in another state without prior notice to the police command in that state. The Lagos state government banned the movement of Okada in some parts of the state. However, some policemen were reported to have gone outside the state to seize bikes while claiming to be enforcing the ban. You're watching Spring News at 12 on Western Spring Television. We'll be right back after this break.
Turn it up! It's the Wild Wild West, and Western Spring Television is pulling out all the stops to make sure that you don't miss out on every of the fun and happenings around here. Yup, we've got you covered because your girl got all the juiciest tidbits and entertainment news from around the world. Cross over to the chocolatey side of entertainment. Join me, Chocolate Cassie, on Eccentric as we take you into every bit of the juiciest news, fashion, music, movie updates, and other trending conversations. Together on the show, we'll get personal with your favorite celebrities via phone call, Zoom, or even live here in the studio. Eccentric will be showing on your TV screen on Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on Star Times.
welcome back on Spring News at 12. Now to the rest of the stories. To Health Matters, the federal government has said that all international travelers arriving in Nigeria are now required to provide evidence of vaccination at the point of entry. This is following the reported upsurge in COVID-19 in China, Japan, the United States of America, and other countries. The Director of Port Health Services, Dr. Geoffrey Okatubo, disclosed these at the ministerial briefing held in Abuja, stating that unvaccinated passengers arriving from other countries may have to be vaccinated at the airport. The government had in December relaxed the COVID-19 rules in the country. China's decision to relax its strict COVID-19 rules to curb the virus has forced many countries to impose restrictions on travelers from China amid fears of an increase in COVID-19. In the meantime, the federal government has said that though the World Health Organization and other world health bodies has not informed the country of any deadly flu from China, it is on the lookout for any occurrence. The Minister of Health, Dr. Osage Anire, disclosed this yesterday in Abuja during the ministerial bi-weekly meeting on the update of COVID-19 response and development in the country's health sector. According to him, where there is an outbreak of any flu or disease anywhere in the world, we will announce it to the world and send an advisory on how it can be handled, but there is no such alert in the case of a strange flu. It disclosed that the Ministry of Health finds the message going round on social media odd and strange. The minister also said that foreign media outlets were also silent about the flu from China, an indication that the news making the rounds is a fabrication. Talking business, the Nigerian Railway Corporation says the delay experienced by passengers along the Abuja-Kaduna train route yesterday was caused by the poor quality of diesel it received. Manager Abuja-Kaduna train service, Pascal Inoli, disclosed this while apologizing to travelers in a statement. Train services resumed on the route just last month after an 8-month suspension due to a terrorist attack, which claimed the lives of many and led to the abduction of several passengers. The government had promised to improve its service delivery upon resumption. The Federal Inland Revenue Service (FIRS) says it generated over 10 trillion naira as tax revenue in the year 2022. Special Assistant on Media and Communication to the chairman of FIRS, Johannes Oluwatobi Wujola, said this in a statement. The figure is the highest tax collection ever recorded in the agency's history, adding that the agency achieved over 96% of its collection target for the year. Given a breakdown of the 10.1 trillion naira generated, Mr. Wujola said non-oil taxes contributed 59% of the total collection in the year, while oil tax collection stood at 41% of total collection. On the foreign scene, the U.S. state of California is reeling from its second mass shooting in days after a man shot dead 7 former co-workers south of San Francisco. The attacks took place in the coastal city of Half Moon Bay, and the victims were all Chinese-American farm workers. San Mateo County Sheriff Christina Couples said the suspect, Zhao Chunli, who is 67-year-old, was arrested after driving to a police station. It comes as the state mourns the death of 11 at Monterey Park, about 6 hours southeast of Half Moon Bay, during Lunar New Year celebrations. California Governor Gavin Newsom tweeted that he was at a hospital meeting with victims of the earlier mass shooting.
Zhao was taken into custody without incident, and a semi-automatic handgun was located in his vehicle. Zhao is believed to have acted alone, and there is no further threat to this community. This is a devastating tragedy for this community and the families touched by this unspeakable act of violence.
In Africa, a high court in Rwanda has sentenced former Youth and Culture Minister Edward Bemporiki to 5 years in prison over corruption charges, extending the previous sentence by a year. The original sentence, which came last year, was a rare case of a top official convicted over corruption in the country. He was suspended from cabinet last May and put under house arrest. While being investigated for corruption and misuse of power, he remained under house arrest until this ruling. Pamboriki confessed to the charges on Twitter. He was suspended from cabinet last May and put under house arrest while being investigated for corruption and misuse of power. He remained under house arrest until this ruling. Pamboriki confessed to the charges on Twitter and asked President Paul Kagame for forgiveness, but in September, a court sentenced him to 4 years, which he appealed. In Europe, one of Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's key aides has resigned ahead of an expected government reshuffle. Kilo Tymoshenko was the president's deputy head of office and thanked Mr. Zelensky for the opportunity to do good deeds every day and every minute. He had been implicated in scandals linked to his use of expensive cars, though he denies wrongdoing. Mr. Zelensky has signaled that other top officials will also leave his government in the coming days. The Ukrainian leader has said he's carrying out a series of personnel changes in government, regional authorities, and the security services. Moving over to sports, Tottenham striker Harry Kane said a team meeting helped them get back on track with a narrow 1-0 win at Fulham. The England captain scored the only goal with a sweet strike into the bottom corner from just outside the box to equal Jimmy Greaves' record as Spurs' all-time top scorer with 266 goals. It was only Spurs' second Premier League win in 6 games and came after back-to-back losses against Arsenal and Manchester City. They're back to winning 3 points of the Champions League places after only a second league clean sheet since October. Meanwhile, manager Antonio Conte hopes to win something with Kane at Tottenham.
For sure, I'd like to help him, me, and also his teammates to try to do something important, no, to win something, something with Tottenham, because Tottenham is he loves Tottenham. Tottenham is in his heart, and should be good if together we were able to win something.
Arsenal have signed Jakub Kiwior from Syria's side, Spezia, for £17.6 million on a deal running until 2017. The 22-year-old Poland defender offers much-needed support for Mikel Arteta's squad in their title push, with Brazilian defender Gabriel having played every Premier League game so far this season. Kiwior has won 9 caps for Poland and started all 4 of their matches at the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. And out of tennis, Russian Karen Khachanov will contest his first Australian Open semi-final after Sebastian Korda was forced to retire with a wrist injury. Korda was growing into the match when he began to struggle with his right wrist. Taking a medical timeout midway through the second set, the American lost 7 straight games on his return before retiring with a score at 7-6, 6-3, 3-0. In the final category, Wimbledon champion Elena Rybakina swept past Jelena Ostapenko to reach her first Australian Open semi-final. Rybakina fired 11 aces and 24 winners as she claimed a dominant 6-2, 6-4 victory over Latvia's Ostapenko.
Well, first of all, like I was saying there, I had tough period before Wimbledon, in the sense of I was very tired mentally. I played a lot of tournaments, so I was not at my best, and I took a break, so it was kind of not really expected win at Wimbledon, but here it's different because first of all, I already did it once, and of course I got confident that I can do it again, and I did really good preparation with the team, so I'm not really surprised with the results. I'm happy. I'm just hungry to work and improve more. And I think at Wimbledon I answered all the questions, and there is nothing to say anymore.
Before we end the news, here's a recap of our top stories. The presidential campaign rally of the All Progressives Congress in Bauchi State was brought to an abrupt end by power outage yesterday. The Osun State government insists it did not sack any of the 1,500 newly recruited teachers who were recently displaced by the executive order enacted by Governor Ademola Adeleke, which says the teachers are not employees of the government. On the foreign scene, the U.S. state of California is reeling from its second mass shooting in days after a man shot dead 7 former co-workers south of San Francisco. You can follow us on our social media handles on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Western Spring Television. You can also watch us live on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television. That ends Spring News at 12. I am Okoyemuni. Thanks for watching.